Phil, in your experience, what creates anxiety in business owners who are getting closer to retirement age?
Yeah, this is something that I've probably noticed a lot more in the last few years. I don't know whether it's because I wasn't just noticing it earlier, but I've had a number of uh, instances where I've come across business owners, and you can tell that it's not necessarily the business isn't performing, sometimes it's performing fine, but they are anxious around what their future holds. I think they've got to a certain age and they start to feel trapped. I think everybody, whether it's a business owner or it's an employee or it's a CEO, people go through these cycles of performance, I guess. With business owners, those cycles are very long because, the business has to perform for them to make a living. But even then, it eventually catches up with them. And I think what happens is they wake up one day and suddenly they feel trapped. They're not too sure what their future holds. I think they also have come to a situation where they're maybe not enjoying what they're doing, but they don't know how to get out of it, and they haven't done any planning. Generally, they're also very much stuck in the operational side of the business still, so the business is still very dependent on them. So I think a combination of all those things is what creates that anxiety.
You have mentioned business owner dependency. Can that be a fundamental issue even for very established businesses?
Yes, it can, because it's not so much whether the business is established or not established, it's whether the business owner is still, or the business is still very dependent on the owner. Because if the business is still very dependent on the owner, then the reason why they feel trapped is that they have no options. If one of the things that we try and do is to make business owners think a little bit more strategically and, get to a place where they can step back from their business, which means creation of leadership generally. But once they do that, then they have options. They have an option to potentially sell the business for a good value because it's not dependent on them, or they have the option to just step away from the business a bit and let somebody else run it. But when you don't have those sort of options, it doesn't really matter how successful the business is on paper. It's only relevant while the business owner is there if it's dependent on them.
So, what makes owners who have been in business for 20 years or more suddenly realize they've lost the joy in it?
Yeah, that's quite a hard question because I think there's multiple reasons for it. It can simply be just boredom, that they have been doing something for a very long time, like you say, 20 years, and they've just got bored. And they want to do something different maybe, but they don't know what. So it can simply be just the fact they've been doing a routine for such a long time. There can be other reasons. Sometimes there's things like health reasons or potentially, they've just lost the love of what they do. And there can be a number of reasons, but a lot of the time it's just boredom, to be fair.
So why do some owners feel trapped in their business, even when the business looks successful from the outside? And how does that affect their decision making?
I think some business owners can feel trapped as a result of just not knowing where to go next, and the fact, as I have said, that the business is very dependent on them, and they haven't necessarily created the value in the business that they could just sell it for a good amount and create enough wealth that they can live on that for a time. I think often it's that realization that the business, even if it's doing quite well, they realize that if they stopped it tomorrow, their income would stop. And so if they're in that situation where, like I said, they have just got to the stage where they're just sick of doing it every single day, that really creates a lot of anxiety. You think about that. You're doing something every single day that you may not like, but you don't know what else to do. And the solution is actually quite simple. It just takes some really good planning, which is, this is a big part of what our our step out program is. Step back is usually a part of that step out process, but stepping back, our step back program is really around creating a plan for the business owner, giving them options. So when they want to step out of the business or sell the business, they can do so. And so having a plan in place helps get rid of a lot of that anxiety.